All right, everybody. So we're going to start with the information session. Thank you so much for being here today and for your interest in the NSF energy storage engine in upstate New York. So that everybody knows, we are going to record this session so that other people can watch it afterwards. So please, if you're not comfortable with that, please let us know. Here, as part of the engine team, you have myself, I'm the director of translation, and we have Candice, Clara, and James Kirtland, which are also on the translation team as part of our Cornell collaboration in this effort. So if you have any questions, please feel free to ask myself, Clara, Candice, or James. So I'll get started. So the NSF Regional Innovation Engines is a program that started about 2 years ago. And in this program, the National Science Foundation decided to award 10 engines all across the country with $160 million each. And in each of these places in the country, there's a different topic of focus, and it's an engine of economic development that is driven by a particular topic of choice. You will see here of the 10 engines that were awarded all over the country. There are engines in water innovation, in regenerative medicine, in sustainability, in semiconductors. But we in upstate New York were we were awarded the one for energy storage. And the reason why we were awarded the one on energy storage is because of the standing great work that has been done in our educational institutions. And for this, I count Cornell University, Binghamton University, Rochester Institute of Technology, Syracuse University, and many others, but these four are the main core partners of this effort. The great work done in energy storage as a whole, not just lithium-ion, not just lithium-ion batteries, but as a whole, they've done great work on that. So this 2 years ago was awarded. It was launched February 2024. So we have been working really for a little bit less than a year. Our terms for these initial 2 years ends in February 2024 of next year. It was a coalition of 4 great universities led by Binghamton University, Cornell University, Rochester Institute of Technology, and Syracuse University. But there were over 40 industry and academic community and government partners that were part of this effort. All in all, the NSF will put $160 million for 10 years in this engine alone. Each one of the engines has its own funding and is reviewed separately. So this engine will get $160 million over 10 years. It also received matching funds from ESD up to $16 million for that 10-year commitment. And we also have the great luck that we were also awarded other awards from EDA, from the Department of Commerce, Tech Hubs, Build Back Better. So all of this money, poorly counted, is about $250 million that is going to flow into upstate New York so that we are able to motivate and stimulate and improve our standing in the battery industry. So what is the purpose of this NSF energy storage engine in upstate New York? Quite easy. Batteries made in America for Americans, right? So we want to make upstate New York America's battery capital of the world. We want more activity being done here related to energy storage. We want to motivate the industry to move here. We want to have great startup, great companies, great partners in the ecosystem, great research, everything that you need to have so that we are leaders in the energy storage industry. And the subtext of all of this is we want to compete with China. Of course, we know that there's a lot of great Chinese companies that are now leading the energy storage effort all over the world, naming hand BYD and CATL. So we want to compete. We want to be competitive. We want to put money in places where it can actually bring us more competitive in that space. And we want to be part of that whole great industry, which is continuing to grow. But at the same time, we also know that we can't do it alone, right? We have to do it with partners all over the world and partners around the whole country. But definitely, we want upstate New York to be that center of gravity where a lot of these technologies come and we're able to help them and service them. The leadership of this effort is based at Binghamton University. The CEO of the engine is Mira Sampath, who used to be the Associate Dean of Research at Binghamton University. Our CEO is Heidi Grenek, who came from Cornell, having spent more than a decade working with Cornell and at Xerox PARC for many years. And then we have directors of particular pillars of this effort. Stan Whittingham, or I should say Sir Stan Whittingham, Nobel Prize-winning chemist for the invention of lithium-ion batteries, leads the effort on the R&D side. I lead the effort on the translation side, and we'll talk about what translation means. Tim Thomas at Griffiths leads the effort on the workforce development pillar, and Matt Ganter, who's at RIT, leads the effort on the infrastructure side of things. So it's a great team, very savvy, very knowledgeable. We have all worked decades in the battery industry and in academic institutions. We have all built startups, so we know very well how to help both R&D and translation into startups and then build up companies. And our strategy is not just to build a particular battery, right? So the strategy is what can we do so that we are stimulating all great innovations across all of the supply chain and all of the cycle life of energy storage. So, of course, a big part of it is how can we eliminate the need of foreign sources of materials? That makes a lot of sense. We know that we do not have all of the materials that we need here in the United States. We know that we're going to have to work with some partners, for example, Canada and Canadian companies, to bring some of those materials. But we want to motivate and foster any project that has to do with eliminating the need for foreign sources of materials. So it could be new types of innovations that do batteries with different technologies. It could be innovations in mining, could be innovations in processing. And so anything related to eliminating that need is great for us. The second big topic is next generation battery manufacturing technologies and workforce. We're highly aware that we're not going to compete if we just put a gigafactory with exactly the same technology that is now being placed in China. That would put us at a disadvantage, and that is not the way that we want to compete. We are putting efforts into leapfrogging technologies, different types of deposition technologies, different type of manufacturing technologies, different type of extrusion technologies. A big part of that then becomes more sustainable technology. So it's not using PDVS, not using NMPs, using less water. So any type of innovation that comes from the manufacturing side of things, we want to motivate and we want to stimulate so that we can leapfrog the current manufacturing technologies. And then the third aspect of it, which is also extremely, extremely important, is to motivate more recycling and reuse to reduce our need for foreign sources and increase our independence, our materials independence. I think everybody knows that we do not recycle lithium-ion batteries as much as we could, but there's no reason why we couldn't. We have a great recycling infrastructure for lead acid. We just haven't replicated it the right way for lithium-ion batteries, and we definitely want to do that. And if there are other technologies coming on board, sodium, for example, we want to make sure that whatever we build is applicable to these new technologies. So 3 overarching areas where we're interested in putting effort and money and supporting companies: materials, innovation in materials, innovation in manufacturing, innovation and recycling and reuse. And these are broad scope. So if you come in and you say, I'm kind of close to that, but not specifically that, that's great. We want to hear anyone that has an innovation that helps this industry. And the reason why we're strategizing on all of those 3 is because we definitely want better and new technologies, but we also want those technologies to move very fast in the TRL scale. So we want them to advance quite quickly to being commercial ready. And so we have built a map of a lot of resources and partnerships and people in the state that can help really early technologies being born for the first part. So if you have a technology that you wanna see, we have premier academic institutions that do great R&D and great startups that have great new technologies. Then we put all of that through a system that helps us understand that helps with test beds so that you can do all of the testing, so that you can actually do qualification, metrology, anything that you need to do for these type of new technologies. We work with a lot of our education institutions, both research institutions and community colleges, so that all of these technologies can move across that TRL level. And we're also taking those downstream industries, could be military, could be transportation, and forklifts are part of transportation. So yes, forklifts too, military forklifts, drones, anything related to grid utilities. So taking those end users and customers and connecting them to the whole ecosystem. So that way we bring more activity to this ecosystem, and we're able to connect early startups, late startups, companies, service providers, great institutions, everybody, so that they come and work together. So that's really our plan. It's very ambitious. It's extremely ambitious. We're just getting started. We've been working on this for 2 years, and we're just about to get renewed for the next 3 years of this effort. And it is ambitious, but we understand that this is what this needs, right? So we're not going to do it with small research grants. That's not the point. It really, at the end of all of this, probably that $250 million that the federal government is putting in, we want it to be transformed into hopefully tens of billions of dollars from the private sector as well. The way that we are organized is with pillars. So that engine has one focus, which is an R&D and T pillar, basically anything that has to do with R&D and translation. So a lot of focus on new technologies, new processes, and then how do we get these to become real commercial products? Then we have a pillar on workforce development. How do we build that new workforce? And it's not just about the workforce needed for the lab, right? So that's one part of it. But if you think about installation of power systems and grid utilities, you're going to need a workforce there. If you think about installation of chargers, you're going to need a workforce there. So anything related to training, mentoring, guiding people to actually work for this particular industry, that's part of our workforce development pillar. And then the test beds, which is a very important component of it, is having the capacity here in Upstate New York so that you're able to do prototyping, very rapid prototyping. So you're able to do all of the metrology, all of the testing, and as well, all of the certification required for energy storage. That's another big part of it. And we're starting conversations with UL and other companies so that we can do that as well here in Upstate New York. So what are the things that we've been doing for the past 2 years, to just give you a little bit of context on places where we have been putting effort. In R&D and our goal has always been to leapfrog these Asian manufacturing processes and put a lot of support across all of the battery life cycle, right? So materials, manufacturing, system management, applications, recycling, all of that, so that we're sure that we're competing and we're bringing new innovations that are safer, more sustainable, and more efficient, right? So that's the leapfrogging technology. And over the past 2 years, we have given away awards or grants to early startups and early groups in universities as well, where we have given over $1.2 million to teams to develop new types of technologies. And each one of these awards was a mix between an academic institution, people doing great research, and industry partners. And we foster that partnership as well, so that there's already a thinking of a path to commercialization, right? In the next few years, we want to continue to do that, but a lot more directed towards needs of the industry. And I'll talk a little bit about that. But what we're going to do is bring a lot of needs of the industry where they're specifically saying, I do not have a solution for this. I do not know of a solution for it. And that way, that catalyzes new projects that we can support, and then institutions can support, and industry itself can support. So it's going to be very driven by needs of the industry and by basically companies that already could become your own customers. And we know that that's extremely important for any very good early stage project. The second big umbrella of stuff that we've been doing is supporting translation, supporting anything that has to do with having companies or early startups that maybe were at TRL 3, or I would say 3-ish, so 3 and 4, that there were very promising technologies, and helping them through the process of actually going through that acceleration all the way to TRL 7 or 8. In the battery industry, it's very common that this process, where you have a technology that is very early stage, it takes maybe half a decade or a decade to actually become something commercializable. Why? Because the equipment is expensive. because you need to do testing, because you need to do prototyping, because you need to put it in a relevant form factor, because you need to do certification. So all of these things are now in our ecosystem, and we have partners and infrastructure that we build so that we can accelerate that process. And the idea for us is that we take a promising early stage technology with money that we have from the NSF, plus some other support that we would have with industry, with EDA grants from Build Back Better and Tech Hub, then we can get to a commercial product in less than 2 years. That is our goal. I know that that's hefty. And believe me, I am keenly aware of how difficult it is to actually bring a battery innovation to market in less than 2 years. But the reality is that it is possible. And we have a great example of one of those companies called ATO Systems. ATOs came to us last year with an idea of a new manufacturing process that used less water, and actually was an extrusion-based, not coating-based technology. They were working with Kodak, and through our help with the energy storage engine, through working with Kodak as an industry partner. Again, Kodak is actually one of our industry partners, and they're very interested in working with startup companies that are doing new types of manufacturing technologies. So working with Kodak, working with the money from EDA, and through other additional support that we gave, we shortened that time to the point that ATOS at this point in time has a fully ready demonstration of a manufacturing line, and they already have some customers in line that probably are going to set up a purchase order next year. So in less than a year, we were able to accelerate that process quite heavily. And that's exactly what we want to do. Like ATOs, we have other companies. We've been doing Superboost Awards, what we call Superboost Awards, which are funding very specific, very targeted funding grants. We're not interested in doing the traditional RFP process where it takes a long time. This is very targeted grant where what we're telling these companies is, if you have a customer that already wants to have something and you know that end goal, we'll give you that money to get something in the hands of the customer that you can show, that you can demonstrate, that you can put in the hands, and then hopefully that is going to spring a contract, right? So that's what we've been doing. So we've been giving awards to other companies, ATOs, Ionic Energy, Natrion, Select, American Power Company, and we'll continue to find opportunities like this where we can place awards very specifically in these type of projects. Next 3 years probably is not going to be the same amount as we given before. Is going to be more, because what we recognize is that sometimes these demonstration projects require more power. So instead of Superboost, it'll probably be Megaboost, which means that between $500,000 to $1 million, we would give each one of these demonstration projects, as long as you can prove to us that this is something that a customer wants, that once you place it in the hands of the customer, this is going to result in a larger purchase order, right? So if this is going to become a purchase order and it's going to really help you get revenue, it's going to help the customer, it's going to help you, that's exactly the type of project that we want to support, right? And in addition to the support that we give monetarily, we have the support of the ecosystem that helps. You can do prototyping and manufacturing with Kodak. You can do testing, certification, qualification with RIT. You can do metrology with Binghamton University, with their Center for Advanced Electronics, with Cornell University, with Chess if you need a cyclotron. So with Intertech if you need to do some other validation. So we have a very interesting group of partners where basically you don't need to look elsewhere. What we're trying to do is have you be here in New York and be sure that you say, if I'm at point A, which is TRL 3, and I need to get to point B, which is TRL 7-8, you have every single resource in New York State so that you can do that fast, and you can work with all of these people. So these projects are already underway. Most of them you will already see a lot of press releases on these teams, so go and look for them. And we give them a lot of promotion, because we also know that it's not just about the technology itself, it's about getting customers to them. And a lot of the work that we do is promote these, all of these efforts so that they can get the customers that they need and grow as companies. In addition to Superboost or the monetary support that we give, we also give them technology assistant. Again, we know that you don't necessarily know all of the resources that we have in the state, but it is our job to show you the resources that we have, the people that you can work with, the partnerships that you can have. So that's our technology assistance program. We have also developed a supply chain risk assessment tool in partnership with MITRE. We know that it's very critical to understand your supply chain, and probably there will be, maybe surely more than probably, will be disruptions in the supply chain. We know that that's coming. So we have built a software tool that can help you assess your risk on the supply chain and give you guidance and mentoring on how to eliminate and reduce that risk. We also connect you to other educational activities and other types of support like ICOR, like SBIR and STTR. Since NSF is our main funder, NSF also wants us to be a conduit so that you can get to other NSF programs and get more NSF money. So that's absolutely doable. And we want you to go and apply for ICOR programs, for SBIR, for STTRs. We have also built an augmented database. So New York Best, which is one of our partners, used to have a database of the resources in the state, but we have augmented that database so that it's easier for you to find partners, to find connections, to find suppliers, to find anyone that you need. And that anyone is from educational institutions, from startups, from early stage companies, from large companies. So we can share the link for that database here, but you can also just Google New York Best database or go to the New York Best website, and then you'll see the link for the database. And we're always looking to start new programs that foster economic growth and relationships for you as early researchers and as startups, right? So that's part of the translation support that we have. On workforce development, our goal has always been to really be prepared for the growth that is going to come into this industry. There's no doubt in our minds that we will have a lot more jobs related to the energy storage industry, and the jobs come from training that we can do with community colleges. We are working together with Alfred University, SUNY Broome College, Green Force, with the YMCAs. Actually, we're also working with Indian Nation to make sure that we address their concerns and make sure that they are also integrated into this economic development. So what we're doing is really looking holistically at all of the people that we will need for this new industry, whether it's at the community college level or the undergrad level or the master's level or the PhD level, and making sure that everybody has a path towards the job that they want to have there, right? So it's not just very heavily trained scientists or engineers at the PhD level, it's everybody across the supply chain. And to be honest, that's where there's going to be a lot more work in installation, in construction. So we know that this is going to spur a lot of really interesting economic development. And that's being led by Griffith Institute in upstate New York. And finally, we continue to grow our number of testbed and infrastructure. Over the next 3 years, with the money that NSF gives us and the state gives us, we are going to put a lot more money into our testbeds infrastructure. We will build, right now there is part of our infrastructure is something called Battery New York. Battery New York is kind of a WeWork for batteries. If you want to build a new type of battery and you don't want to buy all of the equipment that is necessary to do that, you can go to Battery New York. It's in Endicott, right next to our Binghamton operation. And then they can help you do the metrology that you need, the coding that you need, the testing that you need, the integration that you need. So we want to continue to build Battery New York into kind of the premier WeWork type collaborative space so that everybody that wants to build a new battery technology can go there, test it fairly quickly, understand what's the end result, and reduce the risk and reduce the amount of money that is needed to actually develop a new technology. So Battery New York will continue to grow, not just in lithium-ion battery. We're going to start putting money also to buy some other equipment, other types of deposition technologies, extrusion technologies. If any of you is working on a semiconductor type technology, that's great. We want to have more of that. And Endicott has already some of those semiconductors equipments there. We're going to augment our capabilities for dry rooms as well. That's in Binghamton. We are going to put more efforts into working with partners so that we can do solid state electronics and solid state systems. That's very interesting to us. If you need to do some heavy X-ray analysis using cyclotrons at Cornell or at Brookhaven, if you need to do manufacturing of electrodes, you could do it at Kodak. If you need to do testing, certification, analysis, you can do it at RIT and our battery testing and prototyping center. And particularly in safety, we will augment the capabilities in people that we have so that you can test the technology and make sure that it actually performs with the safety that is required. So just in summary, because I know this is a lot of information, but what we have done over the past 2 years and what this effort is about is really motivating R&D and T, right? So new types of innovation that then get translated. That translation is extremely, extremely important, right? For us, it's not just basic research. It needs to have a path to translation. So R&D and T, the workforce that needs to develop with that, and the infrastructure, so you don't have to look elsewhere. So you can actually do all of the work that you need to do here, right here in New York State. We are going to enter the next phase of the engine. That's going to be February of 2026. The next phase is going to be 3 more years. In those 3 years, we're going to deploy around $62 million. And we're going to continue to foster all of these areas that I told you about, R&D and T, workforce development, and then the infrastructure. But we're going to start focusing on some areas where we know that we have the expertise. And to be honest, you have the expertise, right? So what we're going to do is sell the expertise that we know that our faculty members have, our startups have, our companies have. We have identified 4 areas where we know that the industry is heavily clamoring for solutions. And we're going to make sure to connect those industries, those end customers to you and to anyone that wants to solve those problems. So the 4 areas that we have recognized is safety. We know that there's a lot of great expertise in safety in our state. We have great people that work on safety, and safety could be making new types of materials. Safety could be making new types of sensors as well, making sure that we monitor batteries in the right way, doing charging in a different way. Anything that has to do with safety and energy storage, we know that we have great expertise. And so we want anyone, anywhere in the world that wants to improve the safety of their energy storage systems to come to us. And as they come to us, to the engine, we then conduit that towards anyone that is working with us, all of our partners, not just academic institutions, but startups and companies as well. The other one is power engineering and energy storage. There is a big appetite for more power coming out of energy storage systems. As you know, energy storage systems are very good, and we've done a great work in improving the energy density of it, but power density is still a challenge sometimes for particular applications like drones and like electric aviation. So we want to make sure, because we have the expertise on power systems, that we're able to solve those problems of industry related to that. The third one is sustainable manufacturing and just better manufacturing, that leapfrog manufacturing, anything that has to do with reducing forever chemicals, reducing the use of water, reducing the use of chemicals, reducing the use of solvents in manufacturing. It's absolutely doable. And if you have any of those technologies, we are going to pull all of the requirements from all over the world, from potential partners, companies, people that actually are looking for a more sustainable and better manufacturing. And then we're going to pull all of those requirements and bring them here and make sure that our companies have a path to selling those technologies to potential customers all over the world. And the fourth one, and there might be more, right? So these are just 4 areas that we recognize right now. But the fourth one is using AI to improve energy storage systems. We know that there is a great opportunity to use AI for materials discovery. That's great. But we can also use it for manufacturing improvements. We can also use it for metrology. We can also use it for improving charging rates. We can also use it actually to do better recycling. So any interesting use of AI in energy storage, that's another topic that we want to bring in. And we want anyone all over the world that needs to use AI in energy storage to come to the engine, and us as an engine, we would actually immediately connect them with the expertise that we have. And there's a different ways that we can work with all of you on those projects. One way could be that a company comes or a customer comes and says, I have a particular problem, but I have not found a solution. And I don't think that there's a solution out there. So if there's really not a solution out there, we would support very early stage R&D projects. So having institutions together with industry go out there and do fundamental research on how to solve a particular problem. The other one is if an industry comes and says, I have a problem, maybe I don't know the solution right now, but probably there's a startup company that already has a solution. then we want that connectivity. And then our role would be, if there's a connection, if we already know that there's a startup in our ecosystem that is able to solve that problem, then we would put effort into having that solution then be demonstrated at the site of the customer, right? So again, for us, it's very important to support those projects where we're demonstrating to a customer that this works, that this is feasible. And that's another place that we would put money. Sometimes there could be larger companies that are saying, well, I already have a technology, I just don't have a way of scaling it. And we have a lot of expertise in the state on how to scale technology. So we also want to work with large industries and industry partners. It's not just about startups, large industry partners that want to scale technologies, want to create their own manufacturing lines and plants. By the way, we have a lot of available room space in the state where if a company wanted to put an operation and a plant, we could actually have them here. So we want to work with them and motivate them to work here in the state. And then the fourth one is there might be particular topics where a consortium model might be formed so that we can advance it in the right way. Think about the Sematech model that worked very well in the semiconductor industry and in energy storage, for example, a topic like charging, which is it's a problem of everybody, right? That could be something that we can motivate and stimulate so that it becomes a larger consortium model. So we're also going to put money and effort in people into building consortia, in particular types of very interesting challenges that we have. So whether it's supporting R&D, supporting demonstration projects, big demonstration projects, right? These mega boost projects, supporting industry, supporting consortia, all of the work that we're going to do is going to be heavily focused on servicing real needs of the industry that come to us. And then what we're selling is what we know that we have very well in the state, which is great people, great expertise, great knowledge, great engineering skills, great scientific skills. So that's what the NSF Energy Storage Engine is all about. We want to make Upstate New York America's battery capital. I think the future is very bright. I have been in this battery space for now more than a decade, and that this is the most excited that I've been in the development of this industry, particularly in Upstate New York. I know that we have great people, we have great institutions, we're working together. We have a lot of money to deploy here. We want that money actually to become even larger money with industry involvement. And so we understand that this is an effort that needs money, people, brains, skills, and connectivity. And that's exactly what the energy storage is going to do. If you have more questions, of course, I'll open it up for questions right now, but feel free to contact us, myself. You can email me at fernando@cornell.edu, but you can also send us a message to the engine itself, Upstate New York Engine, whether it's at Binghamton, at Cornell, or directly to our engine website. And so with that, happy to answer any questions that you have. Thank you. You can also put them in the chat if you want, and I can read them. If any of you have a question, please just open up your mic and we can talk about it.
Thank you. Hey, Fernando, I have a quick question.
Yes, sir. Mm-hmm.
So earlier in the presentation, you mentioned you're looking to provide support for companies that have kind of purchase orders that will lead to more purchase orders. So commercial ready with some likelihood of continued success. One of the things we've seen investing in the battery space is obviously slow qualification. You know, getting a purchase order is typically a long process, and initial interest doesn't always convert. So just help me understand how you guys, as you're thinking about these grants, how you are vetting the process of what it means to have a purchase order that's going to grow into another purchase order.
Yeah, so I think this is a very relevant question because when an early startup or a company that develop a battery technology, I think it's fairly simple to get a simple purchase order, but there's not a lot of thought on, okay, how do I get that to become a much larger piece? And you're absolutely right. Sometimes the thing that stops them is, oh, by the way, I cannot really purchase something big enough if I don't have certification, if I don't have UL certification, if I don't have all of the safety testing that is needed, if I don't see a path to scalability. Right? Maybe I don't need 2 batteries. I need a billion batteries, right? So these are all problems that early stage companies have, and that's where they completely get stopped. So the way that we are thinking about solving this is, one, with partners, making sure that you have the resources to do those things that usually stop you. So definitely UL certification and any type of certification that you need. Definitely testing, right? So all of the safety testing that is needed. And with RIT, we can do safety testing from a cell all the way to a bus system. So if you're talking about hundreds of kilowatt hour pack, we can do that safety testing directly at RIT. Then manufacturing, right? So how do you scale up manufacturing? Battery New York will actually purchase some of that equipment so that you can start doing manufacturing there. And maybe that equipment will be shared at some point in time, but then you can prove that it's a scalable production, right? So all of those things we want to put there. And at the end, we're also going to guide each one of these companies so that when they do the agreement with a particular customer, in this agreement, there is actual real commitment. I think that's the other thing that we've seen a lot is that companies tend to do something that they call death by trial, right? So everybody wants to try what they do, but then no one really buys them and then they die. So we want to guide them with our set of experts so that when they go and they do an agreement, they said, look, this type of technology, if we demonstrate these particular things, this certification, this energy density, this performance, then you as a company, you're going to commit to buying 50% of your supply from this company, right? Or 40% of your supply. That is not uncommon. We've done that with some companies, but sometimes it requires guidance on how to do that. So guiding the companies as well with our network of experts so they can do those agreements in a better way, that's also important. So it's a multi-pronged approach. But you're absolutely right. We want that commitment. We want a purchaser to say, maybe committing 100% of the supply is a little bit too tough, but hey, you can definitely commit 50% of the whole purchase of your cells if we demonstrate both scalability, all of the certification, and we demonstrate that you can build it. And we're willing to put as an engine $1 million or more in this effort, and we're also willing to bring investors to the table that they can put also money so that you can get to that point. I didn't talk about that part. Actually, you just made me realize, but associated to our engine, there's a group called Launch New York that Launch is an early stage venture capital fund. Over the past 2 years, they were able to raise around $50 million to invest in early stage startup companies. And we continue to work with them so that we can bring in more interest from larger VCs, private equity, and other types of funders so that our companies can actually have also the investment that they need. Keenly aware that $1 million is not enough, right? So if we can get that capital also flowing to those companies, that's also going to be very important. And we've already done that. We went from 0 to 15 million. Launch New York did a fantastic job. I completely understand that probably will get to be will need to be $1 billion, right? That would be requiring funding. But we will work on that over the next 3 years. So all of those things. That's a great question. Thank you, Zach.
So may I ask you, there's something you said, Fernando, that resonated with us. I'm Sergio Barron, CEO of Dynami. We are awardees with Professor Anwar Haddad from Binghamton of an NSF engine grant, working on green solvents for electrode coating. Our company specializes in coating. In particular, we invented and patented and demonstrated a technology that creates coatings with 3D microstructures that enhance lithium-ion transport. So with the same materials, we make batteries that are 5 times more powerful. They deliver 5 times more power than a regular battery. So that's coming on the next call, Fernando, right?
Yes, sir. Mm-hmm.
Cool. But the thing is that we have a contract with a major car manufacturer in the US. We are doing the famous trial thing with them. And frankly, we need help to do that type of contract, the next contract to be that type of contract that is upon performance triggers a purchase. Because so far, we are a 5 people company, and our client has over 200,000 employees. So it's been like super difficult to negotiate for us. So how can the engine help us now?
So scalability will be, I think, your challenge, right? So really proving that you can scale at the numbers that they need, and so it depends on what you need. If what you need is really processing of chemicals, we have Corning, Kodak, and other partners that are willing to actually help doing that. Actually, Corning is very heavily becoming involved as well, so they can process a lot of chemicals and be the scalability partner of a lot of these companies. So if
we don't do any chemistry. We just enhance the physics of the lithium battery.
So I guess the question is to you. So what do you need to prove scalability, right? So it seems that you have a good technology. You're doing it.
We probably need the services of Battery New York. So far, we haven't seen any call from them for these services you mentioned. We also need cash. It's a startup. The most important thing is cash. And that's it. For the rest, we have been super well helped by the Binghamton community. We have interns from NENI. We are established at the Kaufman incubator. We have a great lab there. But we are on the point that we need to grab that client and the next ones, of course. But the problem is that it's Samson versus Goliath. All our clients are Goliaths.
Yeah, and that's that's a normal problem that we all have. But again, we have a lot of people that have gone through that process and can help you. I'll put a note on it, Sergio, and we can definitely connect you to Battery New York. We'll make that connection right away after the call, and then we also make sure that you get connected to Launch New York and other funding resources, so that you can start getting the funding that you need. Right? Might be that for the next years, if you want to do a larger demonstration or build more cells or give them something larger, we can directly support with that. But I think it's important for you to just start talking to venture capital and private equity and any resources that you might need that gives you the funding to do it. Right.
I guess you have my
so I'll put that in the to-do list.
You have my email. Yes.
Yeah. I can find it for sure, because you're not awardee list. But to your point, I mean, so Battery New York is something that we really start augmenting a lot more in the past 6 months, and we're going to put a lot more money on it as the next phase comes in. So I think you're going to start seeing more. And I'm sorry that we haven't promoted it more. I think that was one of the things that we learned over the past 2 years is that we should have done a little bit more work promoting it. But now we will, and we'll connect you to them.
Excellent. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Any other questions, thoughts? All right. So again, please let us know. Clara and my team put here a whole bunch of links. So please copy them and make sure that you go to our website, make sure that you take a look at, you subscribe to the updates of the engine. You can contact me directly or anyone on my team if you need to have more information. If you're already associated with anyone, like Sergio was saying, like Kaufman or any of the incubators in the state, please through the incubator also say, hey, we need to get more of the support of the engine. We're talking continuously with them, but we just want to make sure that we're not losing anyone. And know that we're here to help help you, to guide you, to put money to you. We understand that it requires money, as Sergio was saying, but it requires expertise as well. And at the end, we also want to connect you with industry. We're not going to be a purely research, R&D, RFP type of thing, operation. On the contrary, we're going to work more on the other side, where we're going to bring a lot of these challenges of the industry, and we're going to present them to you. And just to end with just one topic is there is a big movement coming on board right now where the military in the United States, Army, Navy, all of them are going to be directed to buy American. Right? So you need to take advantage of that opportunity. I'm happy that you're looking all over the world, but that's another opportunity that might be coming online, where we're going to be the nexus and the conduit for those types of opportunities. Next week, I'll be in a battery meeting with the people in the military, and then we can bring you a lot of those requirements as well. So we want to be those connectors to industry to get you more contracts and then more money and get you to grow. So thank you so much for being here. Let's keep in touch, and please connect with us at any moment in time. Thank you all, and thank you to the team for setting this up.